All right, testing, testing. All right, testing, testing. All right, testing, testing. Okay, perfect. All right, hey everybody. All right, testing, testing. Let me do this. Okay. All right, so I'm bullish going into the morning, looking for higher prices. Best case scenario at the opening bell, we dip below to this data low right here. This data high still intact, so that's good for my bullish bias. So I'm looking for something like this. I like how this data low is also a 15-minute intermediate term low, which are important points of looking for like reversals for me. I want to see London stay intact because it's protected by the hourly fair value gap, and there's S&T at the low right there. So that should remain protected as long as we stay bullish. Just give me 1 second to get settled here. Oops. Okay. All right, so New York open here. Want to see that dip lower like I mentioned. Let's get that off. Didn't take any trades yesterday because of the just the conditions and the overnight moves. So currently no trades on the week right now. Just want to mark out my 9:30 open because if I'm bullish, any longs below that is going to be good. I want to mark out the previous day settlement too, just to know what kind of gap I'm working with. So it's a premium gap, which would also support a move lower to fill it because it's really not a big gap, right? It's only 60 points. So it could get filled before moving higher. So far, I like what I'm seeing. Exactly what I wanted to see is the move lower first. This low is taken. Not really meaningful to me though. It's not like an intermediate term low. It's just a random internal low. So and there is SMT at this low, but if there was a trade setup to form right there, I wouldn't take it because again, it's not really that meaningful of a low to me. Right down here is much more meaningful. I think there is an hourly too. There is an, yeah, 1 hour unfilled right here, but I would prefer to not see that get hit. It could. So yeah, it could wick into there. It's not as far below the 15-minute intermediate term low as I thought. So I'll have that marked out. Okay, so took out these equal highs right here. Yeah, so this is the SMT at the low. And this is technically an entry for me based on my model, but it's not a good one. So I'm not going to take it. And the reason it's technically an entry is because we have this 3-minute inversion right here, which is the highest time frame in the leg, and then we have SMT, like I mentioned. So if it moves up there without me, that's fine. Not worried about missing any trades or anything like that. It could just be like engineering more liquidity. Like what would be really ideal is if it left this as equal highs right here, or that high actually got taken. But I would still consider this like relatively equal. If we make some kind of high up here, fail to take this, dive down lower, and then go up, that would be like really ideal. But it could just open and this was the manipulation move and then move higher. But wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I gave my pre-market analysis in my Discord. It's a free Discord, links in the bio. I do live trading there, and I do like trade breakdowns and weekly breakdowns and other kinds of sessions and stuff like that. So really good information in there, all for free. So if you wanted to go and join that, again, link is in the description. So feel free to do that. So I'm looking at the midpoint of this wick and how we react off of there. Okay, so blowing right through it, and then this should get hit. So it makes sense why this data low didn't need to get hit because it was protected by the 15-minute fair value gap. But again, it just would have been a much better entry opportunity for me. And I would have had a lot more confidence in it. Like if I took this long right here and I lost, I would have been mad at myself because I knew that price could have came down here before wanting to go up. So just wanted to, protect like mental capital there. We almost went right to the midpoint of the opening range gap. Fell like a tick or two short. If we could create equal highs right here, come all the way down here, it would make it an A plus setup and draw on liquidity for me. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we run this just because it's too obvious. I want to check out ES. Yeah, so there would be SMT at this data high right here if NQ was to take it and ES didn't. So I want to mark out that right there. I want to mark out the current important lows of the day. So that's going to be this initial low. So I'm just like setting alerts for areas where trades could form and where I'm looking for SMT to form. And what could be a good opportunity is if we take this, do something like this, and then I could target that data low. So instead of using as a area where I would look for longs from, it'd be like a nice draw on liquidity for me. But overall, I am higher time frame bullish towards, like if I go to the higher time frames here, this is a daily intermediate term high, and it's also an unfilled weekly fair value gap. And I was low key like still bearish from right here, but I was just really waiting to see on how we reacted from that area because it was a weekly intermediate term high. There's a fair value gap right here. We could just be sweeping it. This is all a fake run and then do something like this of a continuation lower, but with the tariff news and things like that, um, prove to us that we wanted to go higher. So I just took data high. There's SMT there. So now, pretty important how we react here. We're gonna have an unfilled 5 minute right there. Get rid of this SMT. And I could short if given the opportunity, but I just feel much more comfortable going long based on order flow. So this would be like the important area right here in condition for me. Like if we hold this, I think we go higher. If we close below, then I think that gives the go ahead to go take this data low right here and then potentially into this hourly fair value gap. But yeah, I can't really take a obvious short here either, just because this 5 minutes so close. So because there's SMT here, I would prefer that it happens like inside of a fair value gap, like if there's a 5 minute here or 15, but there's not. That's why I didn't want to take this. Um, so really what I'd be looking for now is like a continuation move higher, like this. But yeah, draws still higher. It doesn't have to reach up here today, but this is really my weekly target right here. And then I think because we went through this like important high right here with a lot of momentum, I'm honestly bullish until all-time highs unless proven wrong because these are relatively equal right here. So a move into this 5 minute would be good because it'd be taking out this intermediate term low. I'm not going to short this, even though it technically is a shorting opportunity for me since we're going to inverse this 1 minute gap. But yeah, again, I just can't because we're higher time frame bullish. So I'm wanting to see this go down to here now. I'm just playing this as NQ is the stronger one, ES is weaker. Yeah, Dow didn't take that CPI high either. So let's see a move down here now. Then I can look for longs from here. Yeah, if I was in that short, I'd be break even now. So it was something like this. Good risk to reward, right? Even with just a 30-point trade, it'd be 1 to 2. Already break even just because shorting, in my opinion, right now is risky. I want to see ES's 5 minute. So ES actually doesn't have a 5 minute right now. It's about to get made though. So yeah, this would have been break even. Nice job not taking that. Still could go lower, but just wasn't the trade I was looking for. Okay, so I want to put a alert here too. Held this. So this is technically a balanced price range because this imbalance overlaps with this one right here. Yeah, so we're seeing that move off of that little blue box right there. That's just this inversion fair value gap, which is where I was, would have been taking that short from. So that's a nice move in respect of that right there, right off the midpoint. But ES might be wanting to go poke this. I think 10 a.m. will give a better read on price though. And then if we were to go and inverse this 5 minute, then I would be bearish towards all this down here. So there's a 5 minute here too. I'm gonna mark out equilibrium of this range. Okay, so right around the midpoint of that 5 minute fair value gap. It does make sense that it's accumulating right here though, because it could be forming like a bull flag for people wanting to go long. Like retail traders see this as a bullish pattern right here. They're doing something like this. And it could still go higher. I'm not saying it can't right now. It could just break out of this and keep moving up. But what would be best case scenario is like a nice way to combat that pattern is it fakes higher, shoots lower below here. So it's like faking breakout buyers. manipulating them and stop losses below here into a fair value gap, and then I get like an entry pattern to go long from down here in more of a discount because relative to the range right now, like I just marked out, we're not in discount. But yeah, nothing here right now. Price is moving pretty slow. We've got 950 coming up, which is start of the macro, so we could see price start to move around that time. Again, Wix still respecting that right there. It's also like the midpoint of this, so we're failing to even close above that. Bodies are respecting the lower portion. So yeah, I am expecting a move down from here, honestly, going into the macro time, 950. All right, I was actually just away from the charts here for a second, but yeah, so we just took this high. Um, this kind of makes me think that it's more of a false rally. There's no wick right here, but yeah, look what I had mentioned, like right at 950 when the time's gonna start spooling. Right at 950, we had that big ass candle right there. So still SMT at the highs for now. Um, let's see the 4 hour. If there's any targets here. Yeah, there's really nothing in this area until we hit this 1 hour fair value gap. So this is like the low hanging fruit target till we hit this major high. Because sometimes like holding for such an important high can be asking for a little too much because it could just manipulate, engineer equal highs and things like that. So it's always good to have like the low hanging fruit targets that come before your primary target, from my experience. But yeah, nothing here for me yet. There's no wick on this candle either. All right, so the open is at 21056.5. The low is 21056.5. So that's a little bit suspicious to me too. So really what we could see is like the opening range from 9:30 to 10. Just be given this move higher right here, engineering liquidity, have a rally back down for like a mini 10 a.m. reversal slash retracement, and then look for that continuation higher. That's just thinking pretty far ahead right now, but that's the best case scenario that comes to my head right now based on how we're reacting at the opening range because we got like initial manipulation at the open, but just not what I was looking for. Like that wasn't enough for me. Yeah, there was SMT at these lows, like that cracking correlation, but with everything else resting below here, it was just not enough for me. And the fact that we just keep inching higher without taking any lows, we're really just leaving all these lows above unfilled imbalances. Anytime it's doing that to me, that's just like a suspicious rally. But it conflicts with my higher time frame bias, right? Because I am bullish, but I couldn't find a place to get positioned here. So yeah, 10 a.m. will be pretty telling on what we do here. Could leave a 5 minute here. So in that case, if we're really bullish, we'd be looking at like an open, low, high close. ES just took the CPI high right here. So yeah, it was as I thought that NQ is just the leader and S&P's lagging as opposed to that being like a true SMT right there. So I would bet that some people got smoked on some shorts right here. Literally just gotta sit here and wait though, right? That's the boring part of trading. is you can be right about your bias. Like when we were trading around here, I mentioned I wanted to see a drop lower and then trade up to this. Um, but I mean, if your entry model's not there, then you can't like break the plan and shit like that. You just gotta be happy that you were right about direction. But it doesn't mean that it's gone and off without me. Like I just gotta wait for wait to see what it's gonna do. Because I still think we need to manipulate lower a little bit before continuing. But this is all too smooth right here for me. Like these are relative equal lows. Damn, that was looking ugly. All right, so I want to see where the 9 a.m. candle high is formed because 10 a.m. how we open and react to that is going to be important. So as of right now, this is 9 a.m. high. Okay, so there's like a minor SMT there. This high was taken on NQ, or not taken, and this high was taken on ES. So this is 9 a.m. high. I set an alert there. Because a lot of the times, really good SMT forms at those hourly highs. And so if you would get that and then, have a setup present itself, those could be really good opportunities, but it'd be better if it was like in my direction, obviously. Still really not trying to go short. Okay, so no SMT there. Just continuing up. But that 9 a.m. high got taken. So these are all like relative equal highs, low resistance liquidity, right below this hourly right here, this hourly imbalance. So that's like a long-term target. The weekly fair value gap I'm looking at on NQ is up here, and we're already pretty close to it. Oh wait. And on ES, we're really not close to it. Like we got a lot of distance to go here. So yeah, NQ is definitely the stronger one. Tech's definitely leading. But it might just be one of those days where it leaves without me. Right? I don't like trading things that open up and just keep making lower highs or lower, higher lows, right? Higher lows and not taking any liquidity. It just keeps going up. Like to me, this is all just a trap. And whether it wants to take those like later in the AM session, in the PM session, or all the way until tomorrow, I'll just have to wait. Because, how many times have you seen this get in on a pullback, and then that's when it finally manipulates, and you're sitting there thinking, oh shit, like I knew that was going to happen at some point. But yeah, pretty boring CPI so far. This would have been my A plus setup right here. And I just feel like this market is so falsely inflated too. Like, look at all of this. Relative equal, huge gap left open, relative equal. Like, I think it's all just getting pumped up by the tariff pause and stuff like that. And I mean, who knows what's going to happen whenever that comes undone, if it does, right? Okay, so we have this 5 minute here too. I guess I can go over the paper trade that I took yesterday because it's not looking like we're gonna get anything here. But I didn't trade live yesterday just because I mentioned it at the beginning of the stream, but there's so many reasons to not trade live yesterday. One, it was a no news Monday, the day before CPI. So that's two reasons right there. Um, Second reason was this huge gap open and never reaching it again. Third reason was giant move overnight. So at 3 a.m. right here, this is London session. Anytime London session has a really big expansion, you expect New York to have like an accumulation, right? And that's really what happened is we opened and we had this nice drop right here. Then really it's just not good price action, right? Um, so that's why I didn't participate, but I did end up taking a paper trade right here. And so we traded lower going into lunch or the end of AM session right here. We took out this low into this higher time frame. This is like an hourly fair value gap right here. We had a balanced price range where it's one candle down, one candle up, took this intermediate term low right here, or this internal low, I should say. I was looking at this 5 minute, so I could have entered solely based off of the inversion of this 5 minute right here, but it came back down into this, and what we ended up doing was chopping around a bunch until we took out this low. Well, not even until, like we still chopped around after this, but we took out this low right here. This was the last fair value gap in the highest time frame in the leg that took out that low inside of this 5 minute, and I'm expecting that we're having like a 10 a.m. reversal right here. The low was made at 10:30, and then these are equal highs right here, resting right below this unfilled fair value gap, which was also an hourly and a 15-minute fair value gap right there. I'll show you. Hourly, 15. So I was looking to target that like external range liquidity to internal range. Close above there, inversion fair value gap, stop below this low right here. Got really close to getting stopped out. Oops. But then ended up going to take profit. So this was really the move. Entry right there, stop below here. So yeah, a couple ticks, but there's S&T at this low, so that really is what saved me right there. ES took that low, but NQ didn't, and then got that move higher. So that was my paper trade yesterday. So if we could form this 15-minute fair value gap, that'd be a lot more clear as opposed to having just multiple 5 minutes right here. It'd give like a better time frame to frame a trade off of. So I would want to see this left untouched, generate some buy side right below it. Start to see a pullback here. But yeah, just pretty boring right here. Was expecting a better CPI. Was hoping for a better one so I could get a nice trade for the stream or get something, but it's looking like we might not get anything. But it's still early. All right, I'll go till like 11. I mean, when this 1 hour gets hit, I really just can't look for shorts. If I'm looking for shorts in this, that's just gambling. But if we are going to get a retracement, I think it could originate from right here. Because this is like the last fair value gap before we reach this main high. So just hit that. I just want to use the box instead of the line because I want to have the midpoint noted too. Because, yeah, we just hit right at the midpoint. Then what else do we have? This is an order block. So I just want to have those areas marked to see how we react from them. Again, if we do get a retracement, I think it'll happen in this area. Really, it would need to. Otherwise, we just keep going higher. And that wouldn't be fun. That'd be boring. Now this 15 minutes so far below here, it's just as of right now, it is in discount. How much are we up today? 1.3? I thought it was gonna be like 4. Yeah, it's looking like we might not get anything today. Don't FOMO into this. This is a fake rally. Or maybe not fake rally, but we are gonna get a retracement at some point. It's just I can't go in and chase this. It's way too premiumed. A lot of times in my earlier stages, what I would do is once I'd notice this, I'd just be trying to get in on like the next fair value gap because I'd be going, oh, well, every 1 minute fair value gap along the way is getting respected right here. Let me get in on the one right here. And then I'd get cooked, right? And I go, oh my God, it's always me. I'm just so unlucky. But no, you're just chasing price. If you're buying this right now, you're chasing price. Ten 30 could be important too. If anything, we see a retracement at 10:30. Why is 10:30 important? Because it is the first hour of real-time trading hours complete. So that's when the most, like the bulk of the volume or bulk of the volatility of the day is going to happen. So sometimes uh, around that time, based on what we've seen in the morning up to that point, it could be an opportunity for a retracement. Look how the 5 minutes, the bodies are respecting right at the midpoint of that hourly, so that's interesting to me. Wix did the damage right here. Oops. Oh man, it's boring. Trading is boring, but these are the days where people who are not going to be patient, they're going to give back a lot of profits or give up a lot of capital on the account, and then they're going to look back and they're going to say, why the hell did I do that? Just a lot of imbalance in this leg up right here with no type of retracement. Hey, what's good, Raj? So anytime I want to like have daily projections and things like that, I this is a concept from ICT, obviously. I take a fib from the low of the opening range to the high if I'm bullish. So this is the low right here up until the high, and I use a negative zero point 0.5 and negative 1 standard deviation. And if it's in line with my targets, then that's just like a good confluence right there and something you want to see. So look how this, I should put these here. So this is the low, this is the high. That was made from 9:30 to 10. Look how it's right in line within this hourly fair value gap and almost right in line with that hourly order block that I mentioned too, right here. Right. So this alone is something that should give you like further confirmation. And then this one is up here. It's not quite in line with anything in particular. Typically, it's not as accurate on um, important news days like CPI, FOMC, especially FOMC, just because that happens in the afternoon. NFP, PPI, things like that. But on normal, regular red folder news days, I mean, it's insanely accurate. You can see up until like you can really predict the highs and lows within a couple ticks, sometimes to the tick um, on given days. So it's something I really use in my analysis. But you didn't see this on my charts today just because it's not nearly as accurate on these high impact news days. But just so happens that this was in line right here, this negative zero point 0.5, which was nice. Hit right hit right to it. Starting to consolidate up here in this hourly. This is where I said if we're going to get a pullback, it should originate in here because if we, go through this, there's really nothing stopping us from going up here. So I don't know. There's nothing here really. Really, if we inverse this 1 minute, it could be like a nice scalp. It'd be better if there was SMT at this high right here, but there really isn't. There's SMT at these lows. But yeah, if this were to inverse, I would expect us to go to this 5 minute at least. Nothing there. And it's coming up right at 10:30 too, right? Remember what I said about 10:30 and how that would be like a good time for price to start to reverse. So I would probably take this if there was S&T at these highs, but there's not. But the midpoint is holding like that. Yeah, there's S&T at those lows now, but I would expect this to move to at least right here, this 5 minute. There's no more SMT there, so we are seeing that push through. Yep, there's that 5 minute right there. We'll see how far we want to go. These are relatively equal. And look when that happened, right at 10:30, right? So just a really quick scalp. I'd be out of that, but the reason I didn't take that is because risk to reward is just super shitty. But that was just based off of this inversion right here. So a lot of times, if it makes sense, which it did right here, but I can't go short, is we create a high inside of a higher time frame imbalance, low. There's lower time frame imbalances right here, like a 5 or 15 minute. Create an engineer liquidity sell side right above that. Create a high right here, and then go and sweep this engineer liquidity into these imbalances. So this is just like another way of entering inversion fair value gaps right here. Um, hey Tommy, do you mind explaining the significance of times you mentioned today, like 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m.? Yeah, that's a good question. So 9 a.m. really, it all depends on the situation, but I'll explain 10:30 here first, just because that's it's most relevant right now. Is 10:30, and you can just find this through like back testing a lot. And one thing I really like to do whenever I'm back testing and just going over the day's price action is wherever the reversals happen throughout the day, like the significant reversals, I mark it with a time. So like right here, this is 9:30. In my journal, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 9:30 right here, and I'm going to screenshot it. And so what this does is it trains your eyes to see when reversals and lows of days and turns and sessions are more likely to happen. So through my own back testing, through my own studying, and through the ICT's teachings and stuff like that, what I've noticed is a lot of times where if price is going to go one direction and leave a bunch of liquidity, a lot of the times 10:30 can have that either retracement or all out reversal, but it has to be backed by technical analysis as well, right? And it makes sense right now because we're trading in this hourly fair value gap right at the midpoint right here, and we've only traded higher. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen, right? That we're going to see reversal, because it could just keep going higher. But I know that if we are going to see reversal, it would make sense based on time and price. And also think about 10:30 as like the first hour of real-time trading hours. So if we go to the hourly time frame right here, this is when price opened for the day, 9:30. So notice how this hourly candle starts at 9:30. Look at the bottom of the screen in the black, right down here. This candle starts at 9:30 on the hourly time frame. In electronic trading hours, this is a 9 a.m. candle. So the 9:30, this is the first hour of trading of the day, and the bulk of the volatility and um, volume comes in at this day. So if it's all in one direction, what we can see It's again, if it's backed by technicals and time, then we could see that retracement. Doesn't have to be a big retracement, right? Could just be going to rebalance like equilibrium of a range, or sometimes it could be an all-out reversal if day of week, time, weekly profile aligns with it. Like the short that I posted on my or not yeah, the short that I posted on my YouTube channel, which was my biggest trade of my career. It was based off of a 10:30 a.m. reversal. So if you haven't seen that, I would definitely recommend going and watching it because I actually don't mention the I don't think I mention it, but the 10:30 a.m. reversal. I don't mention the time reasoning behind it. But that was a big factor as to why that trade played out because we were weekly profile was bearish. I was bearish. um, and the technicals align with it along with time. So that's the reasoning for 10:30 a.m. So sorry for making it so long, but sometimes you gotta, really dive into these things. But 9 a.m. is important to me as well. Really, with 9 a.m., I just look at it's more so 9:30 a.m. is more important to me. So if you've like been following along and stuff and just know basic price action is you want to see a 9:30 a.m. manipulation, but the reason I was mentioning 9 a.m. is because of the candlestick right here. So if you're bearish, and I'll just give an example right here. Where's 9 a.m.? Oh, this is real time. Okay, so say there's an hourly fair value gap right here. There's not, but I'm just making the scenario. Say there's an hourly fair value gap right here, and you're bearish. Like you have a really good reason to be bearish. What you can see is if price action supports it, 10 a.m. can open, maybe create like a mini low right here, go and take this high at 9 a.m. So this is an hourly high. So this is important. I want to see how we react around these hourly highs. If there's SMT with technicals supporting it, being inside this hourly fair value gap, and then lower time frame structure supports it, if we get SMT at this 9 a.m. high, that can take a trade from like a B to an A plus because SMT at hourly highs is more significant to me, especially if we start to see price breakdown, inversion fair value gap, breaker, order block. Like that's when it's like, okay, I'm really confident that we're going to start to see some movement lower here. So that's why I was looking at 9 a.m. But obviously we never got anything like that. We just kept going higher. So did that make sense, Josh? All right, cool. And again, I explain things like this all the time in my Discord whenever I'm like live trading, because I do live trading in the free Discord as well and pre-market analysis every day. So if you're watching this and you're not in the Discord, I would definitely recommend joining it. The link's in the description, completely free. And if you're not subbed to the channel, feel free to do that as well. So yeah, we got that accumulation like I thought inside this hourly. Are you a full-time trader? No, no, not a full-time. Not yet. Working on it. But these are the type of days, again, and I'm kind of just rambling right here because there's really nothing else to fucking do because it's just done nothing. But I just remember when I was like, it, everyone really goes into the day wanting to take a trade and wanting to make money, right? And I feel like that's kind of the thing that a lot of newer, or not even newer, like this is something I dealt with a couple years into my trading. And sometimes I even do now, and I just have to like kind of sit back and um, kind of just reflect and recognize it so I can change my mindset moving forward. Is a lot of times you go into the day wanting to make money, and then you end up not taking a trade at all. And you don't like mentally prepare yourself to not take a trade. You wake up and you think, okay, I looking forward to price action today, looking forward to take a trade. Hopefully I can make some money. And if you do that and you get dopamine from taking trades, you're really addicted, right? And that was like kind of a harsh reality that I had to face, um, you know, in the process of becoming good at this. And um, yeah, just becoming better skilled at this is you gotta like ask yourself, do you think you're addicted to trading? And you can sit here and argue and say, yeah, I mean, it's a healthy addiction though because I can quit my job and travel the world and stuff like that. But I mean, you could be addicted to gambling and do the same thing if you hit, right? So you got to sit back and think, is this an addiction or is this something that I'm trying to take serious? And if you're waking up, coming into the day, hoping to take a trade and not mentally preparing yourself to take a loss or not take a trade at all and sit here for an hour and a half, 2 hours and just watch candlesticks paint, super boring. But the way that you need to rewire your brain is think, not get dopamine from targets getting hit or clicking the button or anything like that. Get dopamine and get happiness and get energy from not, or let me phrase that, get dopamine, get energy from following your plan, right? Because if you can watch this and be happy with yourself that you haven't taken a trade yet and keep that like positive attitude focused on that as opposed to haven't taken a trade yet. It's kind of boring. Like I wish I could take a trade. I wish I could make money right now. It's price actions being annoying because I've been in discords before where people just sit there and they bitch the entire time about how price action's so bad and it's price action's fault. It's Trump's fault that price action's so bad. Like you're just a gambler and you're impatient. Think about how many times you're gonna deal with bad price action throughout the entirety of your career as a trader, right? You're gonna let a day or two or even a week or even 2 weeks derail you. It's just not realistic. What's your day job, if you don't mind me asking? I graduated with a business degree, so I just work in like business and stuff. It's pretty boring, but I get a lot of free time, so yeah. So look how this inversion held right here. Starting to see that retracement lower into this 15. Engineered highs. Trying to take a trade inside this 15 minute is lower probability just because we haven't explored any type of discount at all. Discounts all the way down here. But isn't it cool that like you can literally anticipate bad price action whenever we reach a certain level? Like there was never a point in my trading career where I would be able to like see a move like this and then be able to know what time they should start doing this. And that's just what a lot of screen time and a lot of studying does. How did you go about rewiring how you got your dopamine? Losing a lot, losing and losing and losing and getting pissed and then losing more and then wondering why and then hitting rock bottom and then thinking, how can I change this, right? You just get to a point where you get so desperate and so tired of the situation that you're in and seeing, it's like a whole process. And I think every trader goes through this is they start off, they make all these mistakes. They don't know why they're making these mistakes. They're not journaling or doing anything like that. And then once they start to journal, once they start to take it a little bit more serious and realize that it's not easy and you're part of the 80, 90% that hasn't quit at that point, then you start to get curious about, well, how can I actually make this work? This is where like the difference comes from of people who are just trying it out as a hobby and people who actually want to take this serious. Is how is this actually going? How am I going to make this work? What do I need to do? And then you start to recognize rules. You start to learn more about risk management, things like that. So then you spend months and years learning about that, and then you start to think, okay, well now I know like a general idea of what I need to do. um, then it just becomes a matter of implementing it, and that's when you find out that you're not a disciplined person. That's when you find out that you're a flawed fucking human being, and then you spend a lot of time going through that, years going through that, right? Trying to figure out what makes you tick, what gets you angry, what gets you happy, and then you do a week, you do a day of following your rules, you're happy about it. You do a week of following your rules, you're happy about it. You explode and then you lose everything and then you get pissed off and you sit there and it's the cycle of trading. Then you're going, okay, well, I knew I wasn't supposed to do that, but I did it anyway. You start to get mad at yourself. Do it all again. You go, okay, now I've followed my rules for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. I've never followed my rules for a month before. This feels really good. Then you have a day where you have price action like this. You chase, you blow up, you hit your max drawdown. You go, this trade looks really good. I'll take one more trade. Goes past your max drawdown. You go, fuck. Well, now I'm already past this. Might as well just risk the rest of the account to try and make it all back. And then you blow up, and the next day, and you're going, I did it again. And then you start all over, and you just keep doing that. And you go, okay, I'm focused on the money. Am I gambling? Am I addicted? Or am I trying to take this serious? Well, I am trying to take it serious, but my brain isn't following me with that. So now I need to start trying to just focus on the process. And once you start doing that and you have a back tested system, and I'm actually going to make a video about this, it's about like the fear of trading and stuff like that, how to get rid of it. It's as simple as everyone says, right? It's just one of the hardest things to do is learn a system. You have to backtest hundreds of trades using that system. You have to get extremely confident with it, know that it works. You have to implement a risk management system. You just have to follow that system. You have to know that the risk management system works. You can't just go and say, okay, I'm only going to take 2 trades today. I'm going to risk this much, and then if that loses, I'm going to risk this. No, you can't just go into a live market, declare that, and then expect you to follow it. You need to actually do that in backtesting to see that over a span of time, that system actually works. Not just the trading system, the risk management system. Because then when you take a live trade in a losing market following your system, you're going to go, you know what, in backtesting, I took losses just like this. And as long as I don't go and take a trade to go past my max daily loss, I'm fine because I know another trade's going to appear tomorrow. Could make all this back in one trade plus more. Why would I go in here and risk more? Why would I go in here and deviate from the plan? Why would I ruin things like that? And so that's when you start to finally realize that, the that's when your mindset shifts into thinking, I'm gonna start following my plan as opposed to hoping to take a trade or hoping to have a take profit hit. And then it just goes from there. You got to do it over and over and over. There's still days where I don't follow my plan, right? But it's to the point where I don't blow up as much now. Because before, like the main thing that I dealt with was like FOMO and revenge trading. Because my flaw is I just want to be right. My flaw is that I think I'm the best trader, best technical analysis in the world. And if a trade doesn't work out, then I want to be right. So I want to make that money back. I don't want to end the day with a loss. I recognize that was my problem. So I had to adjust my rules around that and know that those rules are going to work over time because I tested them out through back testing. And then a lot of it's screen time and experience, and you just can't teach experience. Yeah, I'm not taking that. Like this is an example of experience and being comfortable with your system. Is this is technically an entry for me. If we close above that, which we just did, I would technically be in this trade. But I know through experience this is a very low probability setup. It still could play out because we just keep going higher, but I'm not going to take this because look what we've done. Do I think this is enough of a retracement right here and we're still inside of this hourly? Before I'd be like, oh, we tapped into this 15-minute. I finally got an entry on the day. I've been sitting here for an hour and a half and I finally got an entry signal. Do you have the discipline to not take that signal because you know it's lower probability, or do you just want to take a trade? I know if I took this and I lost, I'd get pissed off. It'd probably lead me to take another trade. So you got to recognize the situation and like your mindset and your own thinking and know your own flaws and then make adjustments based off of that. So this like I just rambled a lot, but it's like some of the most important stuff that I've learned. That's why I've come to realize that trading is 90% psychological awareness and emotional awareness and discipline and 10% technicals, right? I mentioned this in my YouTube video that I made, the 5 most important things I've learned after 5 years of trading. And one of those things is the risk manager is always going to outlast the technical master. I thought I was the technical master, but my risk management wasn't there. And so I would lose. I'd have really great weeks and months and quarters even, and I could let one day blow it up. So now I take risk management just as serious, more serious than knowing how to read price. And so I know just like taking bad trades or taking trades that aren't a high quality setup just isn't worth it anymore. Just not. I'd rather see it go without me. Some My funded futures just did a an update where you take a trade and like your balance or your portfolio on their website, like your dashboard, updates in real time. So that's kind of cool. So I'd be break even right there. I'd, I'd probably be holding for that. But I really believe that this will be a break-even trade if I took it. Got 11 a.m. coming up too, and there's SMT right there. That's interesting with all these unfilled imbalances below. So I want to set an alert right there. Eleven a.m. is coming up too. So this is another one of those time things where you look at what the previous time and previous sessions have done. We've only gone higher. 9:30 to 10, 10 to 10:30, 10:30 is just chopped around. Leading into 11 has only gone higher. So if Silver Bullet just keeps going higher or chops around, we never see any kind of manipulation along with 9:30, then a lot of times 11 a.m. can give you that reversal. But price doesn't really align with it because we haven't hit our weekly objective. Right here. So like you can see, we can point trades out and stuff like that, but you're gonna be comfortable taking this right here near the high of the day. Like we were right? We took that high, but can I trust that this is gonna be a sustained move? No, based on time and price. 11 a.m. is coming. We really did not get into any sort of discount right here. We took this little low, but really just not enough. So right now, what would make the most sense to me is a small 11 a.m. retracement into some imbalances down here to take liquidity since we haven't taken any minor lows along this run up, and then get that continuation higher. If we just keep going up and we never get any kind of 11 a.m. retracement, then what I would expect is just either chop from this area throughout lunch or like a PM reversal. So hour's about to close up right here. So really, this is actually interesting. If we could close above this 1 hour fair value gap, treat it as inversion right here. That sets the stage to take this, and we have an unfilled right here. And since we would be inversing this hourly fair value gap, what we could see is since looks like the 5 minute is looking kind of good with it too. So this is a good signature I like to see. This order block right in line with the midpoint of this fair value gap. It makes it a little bit more okay to long in a premium because now I have price supporting it. Or it's just one big market maker buy model. Last fair value gap in this entire leg, I'd want to see it treat it as support to move higher. So now that time is also aligned with it, we have 11 a.m. opening right now. It'd be like an 11 a.m. open low, high close. So we'd be getting into discount relative to the hourly open since we'd be getting in below the 11 a.m. open. We did inverse this 1 hour. So we could tap it and I go higher. Whole lot of nothing. Probably go for like 10 more minutes. Because now I'm just becoming uninterested. When do you delete a fair value gap from your chart? Like, when is it no longer valid in your opinion? That can depend on a lot of things. Um, for one, if I have a bearish bias, like say for instance I was bearish, which I was not, but I was looking at like this fair value gap right here or something, and then we displaced through it, Well, if I'm switching my buys to bullish, then I'm gonna cancel that one out. So that's kind of like a scenario right there. As far as if I'm bullish and I have bullish fair value gaps like down here marked, and then I delete them, like this one shouldn't be right here. So why should this 1 hour fair value gap not be right here? Is it meaningful to me? Do I think that the hourly is going to come all the way, or that price is going to come all the way down here to this hourly? And would I want to take a trade from there to go long? No, because we're all the way up here, right near our daily target. Would it make sense for it to come all the way down here? Sometimes it's like, why would I have, this isn't really the best example, but why would I have this one marked? Yeah, I don't really like this example because I wouldn't expect it to come down here. But say it's like price isn't all the way up here right now, and we're like right here or something like that. Like this is the high. Why would I have this fair value gap marked and not this one? Because this one's in discount. So if we hit this one, it's not as high probability. As opposed to if we hit this one, I like how it's in discount relative to the overall range. So it's really just like um, premium discount. If a fair value gap is listed there and I delete it, that probably means if we go and hit that fair value gap, then I probably wouldn't be bullish anymore because it's just so far out of reach. Okay, so there's SMT there. Would make longs kind of iffy. Yeah, no problem, bro. Again, if you guys are finding this helpful, um, if you could give the video a like and sub to the channel, really appreciate it. Again, would have liked to take something. This isn't going to be the only time I live stream on the YouTube channel this week. My plan the rest of the week is to live stream every day. I'm going to be switching off from Discord and YouTube. So tomorrow I'm probably going to live stream in my Discord. If you're not a part of that and you're watching this, the link is in the description. It's free. I do exactly what I'm doing right here, but just for a private community. And I also do private trade breakdowns, weekly breakdowns, and just work with you guys one on one. Really, just there's people in there who aren't learning. There's people who are like traders themselves and developed and confident in what they're doing, and so there's other people that can help you in there. There's motivation stuff. Really, just a nice free community, and I wanted to create something that I wish I had when I was an upcoming student. So yeah, again, if you're watching this and you're not part of it, feel free to join. Would love to have you. Um, and yeah. But yeah, as I was saying, I was hoping for better price action today so I could, take a trade for you guys live on stream, but nothing presented itself. And so I'll probably live stream again on YouTube on Wednesday because I think we have PPI. Um, Oh wait, no, today's Wednesday or today's Tuesday. Whoops, I got my days mixed up. We've got okay, so Wednesday I'm gonna be live streaming in the Discord. Thursday I'll probably live stream on YouTube. Thursday should be an interesting day. We have a bunch of news. And Powell speaks. Then finish off the week with some 10 a.m. news on Friday. There's no wick on this candle yet. There's no bottom wick. Should go lower. But I think the rest of the week is going to be really interesting based on what we've done so far. All of this engineered sell side. Doesn't need to come all the way back down here, but based on how we're just for the last several weeks just creating lows without taking any major lows, it just makes me think that this whole rally, this whole thing about tariff pauses and stuff like that and deals, it's just like not set in stone. I just don't believe this rally yet. I'm gonna keep trading with it. I'm gonna keep trading long if uh if opportunities present themselves. But I mean, because that's what being a day trader is about. But if I was like holding super long-term positions, I just wouldn't. I'm just not convinced, but I could be wrong. So this technically would have been a trade right here too. Based on this candle closing above the inversion fair value gap, went into the 5 minute, used the 1 hour inversion fair value gap as support, and would look for something like that. But again, just not high probability to me because there's no like clear or valid SMT. Like there's this right here, but if we were in a discount, I'd smack this trade for sure. Or we were in discount relative to like that hourly open like I was talking about, but just hard for me to long right near the high of the day when we've only gone higher. Yeah, so that would have been a break-even trade too. And this would just be like getting cooked over and over again. But yeah, I'm gonna head out here just because I don't plan on taking anything here. I would stay longer if I saw something like potentially form, but if there's gonna be an 11 a.m. reversal, like I wouldn't be wanting to see the action we're seeing now. Looks like it could just keep going higher slowly and slowly, and yeah, I don't want to just sit here and wait around, just watch it. So I'm gonna head off here. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys found this helpful. Again, if you're not subbed to the channel, please go ahead and do that. If you did find it helpful, really helps me out. Trying to get to 100 subscribers by July. I had that goal set out for the last couple months now. Only like 20 something away or 15 away, I think now. So um, really appreciate if you can help me out with that. Again, if you want to join the free community, um, would love to have you. And yeah, we'll call it there. So we'll see you guys on probably Thursday, and hopefully we'll have some better price action then. All right, see you guys.